The family of two people who died on this Scott County road say they're thankful changes are coming to make it safer.
The Frankfort Fire Department is implementing some new protocols on how they treat cardiac arrest patients. We'll have that info coming up.
A North Carolina couple that let the HGTV reality show Love It or List It do renovations on their house did not love it. Details on their lawsuit ahead at 4:30.
This is WKYT News at 4:30.
Good afternoon to you. If you call an ambulance for a heart attack in central Kentucky, they may not take you immediately to the emergency room.
The Frankfort Fire Department says it's part of a new protocol for EMS crews to treat heart attack patients longer at the scene. Hillary Thornton has details on what people can expect. It's our top story at 4:30.
Well, officials here at the Frankfort Fire Department say these new procedures will take some getting used to. They say they are confident that they will greatly help in their efforts to save lives. Frankfort Fire and EMS crews like this one will soon be staying at the scene longer when treating cardiac arrest patients.
Becoming almost the standard around the country.
The new procedures aiming at increasing the quality of care for patients experiencing heart malfunctions or a stoppage of their heart. In those cases, EMS Director Steve Clark says immediate CPR and continuous high-quality compressions are key to a successful resuscitation, something he says research shows is difficult to perform while loading a patient in an ambulance and then while standing in a moving vehicle on the way to the hospital. Clark, as well as the department's medical director, an emergency room doctor, say the care EMS personnel provide initially on the scene is identical to what can be performed upon arrival at a hospital.
This is a change in our own mindset. In the past, 22 years ago when I started, the mindset was get them in the ambulance, let's get them to help. Well, now we have to keep telling ourselves we are the help.
EMS Director Clark says he plans for these new procedures to go into effect this month. In Frankfort, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
And Clark says that many other departments are working on implementing similar protocols. In Lexington, police are looking for the person who shot two people last night on Warnock Street off of East 3rd Street. Police say that one of the victims had life-threatening injuries.
A Nicholasville man was killed in a motorcycle crash in Lexington. We first told you about it last night at 11. It happened around 7:30 last night near Old Richmond Road and Grimes Mill Road. Police say 61-year-old Joseph Gerard was killed when his motorcycle was hit by a truck that crossed the center line. Police say Gerard's passenger and the driver of the truck were both taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A crash in downtown Lexington this morning tied up traffic. A car and a Columbia Gas utility truck crashed on West 3rd Street at North Upper. The driver of the car was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. That truck swerved and hit a utility pole and a building on the corner, causing only minor damage. KU is working to repair that pole. Well, the warm air is still in place here at midweek, but we have a slight chance of rain that's starting to ramp up for us.
It's really hard to complain at all. Beautiful weather, but the rain chance is really ramping up tomorrow and Friday. I guess we do need some rain. Let's check in with a man who really knows. That's Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Yeah, we do need the rain. We're running a little deficit since March 1st across central and eastern Kentucky. Got to get those spring rains into town. Right now, there's nothing springy about the pattern. It's all summer. How about 80 to 85 now? Most of central and eastern Kentucky. 84 Richmond. Hello, London at 84. Jackson says I'll do you one better at 85 degrees. Out and about this evening. Upper 70s, still near 80 at 7 o'clock, and upper 60s to around 70 by 11 as we stay on the dry side. How much longer can we keep this dry pattern going? Defender Radar Network, nothing going on. Notice, though, a little cloud cover trying to pop into eastern and southeastern Kentucky. We'll have to watch that. That could at least produce a shower chance. Better rains are off to the west of the Mississippi now into parts of the St. Louis area, west of Memphis. That stuff rolls its way toward the east with some scattered showers and thunderstorms increasing around here over the next couple of days. Will we get a washout of a day? Can your yard get a nice little drink of water out of all this, guys? We'll answer that with an hour-by-hour forecast in just a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chris. In Scott County, people concerned with a dangerous stretch of road have won their battle for changes.
In the last year and a half, 4 people have died in crashes near Highway 227 and Duval Station Road near Stamping Ground. Our Victor Puente has more on the changes and how much it's going to cost.
The changes planned for this road are aimed at making it safer. The family of two people who died here in 2014 say they're changes they've been fighting for. Trevor Spencer and his 3-year-old son, Skylar, were killed in October of 2014 in a crash here on Stamping Ground Road. A third person, Corey Wilcoxon, also died in that crash. Investigators say heavy rain caused Wilcoxon to cross the center line. Since that crash, Trevor's father, Keith Spencer, and his stepmother, Elizabeth Carroll, have been pushing for changes along this road. In 2015, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet installed signs alerting drivers to a curve in the road. But just a few days later, 23-year-old Paul Burton died in a crash. But now there are permanent changes coming to this stretch of Stamping Ground Road. Carroll says a meeting with the Secretary of the Transportation Cabinet, Greg Thomas, and State Representative Chuck Tackett has led to a $2.5 million project that will restructure this curve and hopefully prevent any other families from needing to put memorial crosses on this stretch of road.
His father and I, we haven't even begun to grieve, kind of just threw ourselves in this project, and you know, that I'm sure that will come, but you know, they had to be the angels of this road.
Representative Tackett tells me the plan is to have the design on this project finished by 2017 with construction completed by 2019. In Scott County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Tackett says the money for the project came from the federal statewide transportation program.
A popular home renovation show is accused of failing to deliver on its promises. A North Carolina couple turned to HGTV's Love It or List It when they decided to fix up their home for future foster children.
But now they're taking the production company to court. Manuel Bojorquez is in Raleigh, where the homeowners gave him a first-hand look at the work they say falls short.
The HGTV reality show bills itself a hit TV series that appeals to homeowners in search of a new home to, quote, better suit their needs.
Up to what they now need from a home.
In each episode, a home is renovated and the owners get to decide if they love it and want to stay or list it for sale. It all builds up to a big reveal at the end of the show, like Dina Murphy and Timothy Sullivan.
Decisions made. And are you going to love it? Or are you going to list it?
Well, we've decided to
list it.
But nearly 7 months later, Murphy and Sullivan have yet to list it or move in. They filed a lawsuit against the contractor and the Canadian company Big Coat TV that produces the show. The couple claims the renovations were disastrous, alleging their $140,000 was essentially used to create a stage set for this television series.
This is not like a free makeover. No, not at all. We took out a substantial loan for this and put in some of our own money on top of the loan that we took out.
Sullivan and Murphy declined to comment on the specific damage, citing the pending lawsuit. Their allegations include damaged and stained floorboards, open holes, low-grade carpeting over chipped concrete, and unpainted surfaces. The couple's attorney claims the poor workmanship occurred because Big Coat TV, the production company, was acting as a general contractor during the renovation after taking his client's money.
For the homeowners here, this is a renovation project. And for Big Coat, it's a TV show. What we allege is that Big Coat hired contractors who did substandard work.
So this is the living room.
The couple's lawsuit also claims the contractor only received about $85,000 of their money and that the production company pocketed the rest, approximately $55,000. In a statement to CBS this morning, Toronto-based Big Coat Productions said it has completed more than 250 renovations without any issues, and that the claim is in no way supported by any of the facts in the case.
We feel stressed out, we feel sad, really disappointed.
You came into this with almost a sense of excitement, it seems, right?
We're excited.
Like you said, for the home.
We're excited for the home.
Murphy and Sullivan's suit also states that Eric Emerita, who was the contractor on the show, was actually an actor and not a licensed contractor.
Kelly Ripa is MIA after her co-host, Michael Strahan, says he's leaving the show. More on her on-air absence this morning ahead on WKYT News at 4:30.
Did you know, unlike other blood centers, blood donated with Kentucky Blood Center stays in Kentucky? For Kentucky patients, Kentucky Blood Center is the exclusive provider of blood for patients at your hospital. Visit kybloodcenter.org for more information.
Can you help me figure out what to plant in my front yard to help our curb appeal?
Sorry, I just started working here last week, so I'm not sure. Hey, can you help her find some plants?
Sorry, kid. I work in the plumbing department.
Can you help me figure out what to plant to help our curb appeal?
Piece of cake. First, you need a few dwarf boxwoods over there. Supplement those with a crate. Take your curb appeal to the next level. At King's Gardens, we share your passion for plants.
Clients come into the office. The government has said, no, I don't believe you. You're not disabled.
The major problem with Social Security disability is that most people who sign up are denied at the initial level. If your claim's denied, don't give up. Call us immediately. We'll appeal your case.
We can do an effective job of representing you that will get you the benefits that you deserve.
Call Morgan, Collins, and Yeast, 1-800-55-WILDCAT.
Hey America, I'm getting fired up for Golden Corral's new Fired Up Favorites. It's endless ribs, wings, and tenders, and bold new flavors like habanero, sriracha, garlic parmesan, and classic buffalo. Fired Up Favorites only at Golden Corral.
From simple to exquisite, Sukasa has just the right granite for every style and purpose. Home with a $19.99 granite kitchen and Lexington's largest selection of stone under one roof. Let Sukasa bring your dream home.
Hey, honey. You remember to lock the Buick, right?
Of course I do. I'll never forget that. The Buick Remote Link app, now available in every Buick.
You closed all the apartment windows, too.
Come on. Really?
You're the best.
Current lessees, switch to Buick and get this low-mileage lease on this 2016 Encore for around $189 per month. Visit your Bluegrass Buick dealer today.
This is Once, the Tony Award-winning musical about following your heart and your dreams. You cannot miss Once.
For 5 performances, April 22nd through 24th at the Lexington Opera House.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Yet another gorgeous day out there. Plenty of sunshine. Those June temperatures are back in the Bluegrass State. Yet again, with temperatures into the 80s. A little look outside. 9 live sky cams from across central and eastern Kentucky, and every one of them showing a similar setup with a mix of sun and some clouds today. Those thermometers, though, stealing the show again. 82. How about Danville? Up to 86 degrees. 84 London. You got 2 86s showing up on this map into Ashland and across the Danville area. So yet another summer-like day in the Bluegrass State. Coming a little early this year. Defender radar network dry across central and eastern Kentucky. Rains, though, beginning to ramp up into the western part of the state. That is ahead of a swirl in the atmosphere. That's called low pressure. That is now into parts of Iowa. We are on the good side of this with that warm southerly wind, and that is eventually going to moisten things up enough to produce at least some scattered showers and storms. Let's go to tomorrow morning. Hour-by-hour forecast. Low 60s across the Lexington area. Look at the clouds coming at us. They kind of take on a little more of a tropical look into the afternoon at 73 degrees. By tomorrow, late in the day, there's the chance for a little shower or a thunderstorm to be noted across the land. And as we go through tomorrow night and into Friday morning, much better chances now for some rain. By 8 o'clock Friday morning, this particular model spitting out a ½ inch of rain across the Lexington area, and we will add to those totals into the afternoon and evening with some gusty showers and maybe a small hail-producing thunderstorm trying to race its way across the region. Out and about on your Friday evening, 56 degrees. Winds are calming down a little bit as we get that cooler wind to begin to blow across the area. Thursday into Friday on your 3-day threat track, looking to give us at least a scattered storm tomorrow. Not an all-day rain. Better chance for rain coming up tomorrow night and into Friday. How about nothing on Saturday? That's a good-looking start to that weekend. Partly sunny and very nice. Now, eventually, it's a pattern that will turn active. Look at the thunderstorms, or at least the rainfall on this. You can kind of envision a pattern of thunderstorms from the Mississippi Valley into the Ohio Valley, parts of the Tennessee Valley. This is a computer model forecast for the next 10 days. Kind of gives you a general idea that we are going into a pattern that will turn more stormy, and especially as we go into next week. Short-term forecast, yeah, we've got some showers and some thunderstorms coming at us, scattered stuff. Next week may try to give us a daily threat. So tomorrow it's 75, 70, kind of damp on Friday. We'll bounce it back up into the 70s on Saturday and 80 for your Sunday. And there we go with that pattern change next week. That will give us at least a daily threat for some showers and some thunderstorms during that time. Afternoon highs may stay in the upper 70s and low 80s first half of next week. Maybe we get the best of both worlds, dry and a nice weekend and some rain.
That would be something. I think
really
we could
would.
all be happy with that, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
See, I just keep them coming, man. I just keep the good news coming right now.
We love that.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Bring us some more good news.
I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about at Bryan Station High School today with the production of Bye Bye Birdie, a preview when we return here on WKYT.
How big is loyalty?
You're playing both sides.
If I have to turn on her, I'm ready to fight.
This is the time to make a move. We got Julia on our side, and we're just unstoppable. Just when you think you're safe, whoops, there goes another blind side.
This Thursday, you're invited to a new Big Bang Theory.
A party sub implies it's a party.
Your attendance implies it's not.
A new Big Bang Theory, CBS this Thursday.
See the all-new Certa-Perfect Sleeper Hybrid Mattress and get the king for the price of a queen. Like this king set, just $12.99. Plus, get a 3-day, 2-night Wyndham vacation free. And up to 5 years, 0 interest. Because
nobody beats B-Rats.
Enjoy 0% financing for 5 years and free TVs with your qualifying purchase at Sleep Outfitters. Get this Sealy Pillow Top Queen set with gel foam on sale now for just $4.99 plus a free TV. Save hundreds on a special purchase of Tempur-Pedic adjustable bases while they last. 0% financing for 5 years, free TVs, store-wide savings, and save hundreds on Tempur-Ergo adjustable foundations. Only at Sleep Outfitters.
Do you want to lose weight quickly and safely? Do you want to be healthy for a lifetime? Kim did and lost 238 pounds at Ageless Medical Weight Loss. Betty did and lost 135 pounds. The Ageless program is a medically supervised, affordable weight loss solution. Call today for a free consultation.
Used cars are in short supply, so I need your trade. Right now, at the all-new Big M Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, get up to $5,000 over Kelley Blue Book fair market value for any trade. During the spring clearance event, new 2015 Jeep Renegade Sports are just $189 a month. New 2016 Ram Bighorn Crew Cab 4-wheel drives are only $199 a month. And if you have a job and a valid driver's license, we want to approve you. Only at the all-new Big M Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Thank you for the cereal.
The crayons made a big difference.
May not seem like much to you,
but it means the world to us.
Kroger stores are increasing local community rewards donations to $3.6 million, and you can help decide where that money goes. Sign up at Kroger.com/community rewards and link your Plus card to the local group that matters most to you. When we all join together, there's nothing we can't do. Great food, low prices at Kroger.
Nominate your favorite teacher for Teacher of the Year. They could win a $1,000 gift card, and you could win a $500 gift card. Go to WKYT.com/teacher.
Get WKYT news and weather updates on Mix 94.5.
see the all-new Certa-Perfect Sleeper Hybrid Mattress and get the king for the price of a queen. Like this king set, just $12.99. Plus, get a 3-day, 2-night Wyndham vacation free. And up to 5 years, 0 interest. Because
nobody beats B-Rats.
It is a Tony Award-winning success, and now you can catch a rendition of Bye Bye Birdie right here in Lexington.
Our Deanne Stevens is out and about at Bryan Station High School with a preview. Hi, Deanne.
It's a Tony Award-winning production, Bye Bye Birdie, and you can see it for yourself right here at Bryan Station High School this weekend. Opening night tomorrow night. Amy Kiesling is with us, and we want to get to the students because they're so incredibly talented. I can't wait to see the next production. But Bye Bye Birdie, such a fun one to watch.
Absolutely. We've been rehearsing for about
2.5 months, and every day we find something more fun to do and more fun things, and the energy with the young people is absolutely contagious, so that's exciting.
All right, what are we about to see?
We are about to see when Conrad Birdie comes to Sweet Apple, Ohio, and it is the talk of the town, and all of the girls are very excited.
As a matter of fact, Rosie, I didn't tell her at all. She was so upset about my leaving, I thought I'd better wait. Conrad's coming, Rosie. We kill him. Later, Rosie. Conrad needs me.
Hey, Conrad, how about I answer a couple of questions? Like, how do you feel about going to the Army?
How does he feel? You ask how he feels? He's much too shy to tell you, so I'll tell you how he feels. He feels brave and eager, strangely humble, proud to be a plain GI. Gladly face those bullets, for he's not afraid to die. For he's a high-standing, patriotic, healthy, humble American boy. That's why he volunteered.
Volunteered? I thought he was drafted.
And he appealed 3 times. See?
We love you, Conrad. Oh, yes, we do. We love you, Conrad. It will be true. When you're not near us, we're blue. Oh, Conrad, we love you.
Hey, Conrad, what's the pitch on that Hollywood starlet? Are you two engaged?
Is he engaged?
Production of Bye Bye Birdie. Things kicking off here at Bryan Station High School tomorrow night. 2 shows on Saturday. Come check them out. $5 for students and $7 for adults. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about at Bryan Station High School. Back to you guys.
Deanne, thank you. President Obama will be spending some time with British royalty this week in England.
The president will travel to Windsor Castle Friday to deliver birthday greetings to Queen Elizabeth II, who turns 90 tomorrow. And then he and the First Lady Michelle will join Prince Harry and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, William and Kate, for a dinner at Kensington Palace. The UK stop is part of the president's international trip, which also includes stops in Saudi Arabia and Germany.
Kelly Ripa was noticeably absent from Live with Kelly and Michael this morning, a day after ABC announced co-host Michael Strahan will be leaving to join Good Morning America full-time. Gossip website said that Ripa was, quote, caught off guard by the move. She reportedly found out about Strahan's departure shortly after Tuesday's show ended at 10 a.m. TMZ described her as livid at ABC's owner, Disney. There was no explanation for Ripa's absence. A former SNL cast member filled in for her today. Later, a spokeswoman for the show said Ripa had the day off.
Jennifer Aniston has been named People's 2016 World's Most Beautiful Woman. The actress says she was humbled and very flattered when she first heard the news. The 47-year-old says she has learned to embrace her appearance over the years and insists she feels most beautiful after a great workout. She lists her beauty icons as Gloria Steinem, Lauren Hutton, and Bridget Bardot. Aniston offers beauty tips and secrets to aging gracefully in this week's issue of People, which hits the newsstands on Friday.
Hanging 10 at the age of 4, meet a totally rad kid who is riding the wave of popularity.
Join me, Denny Crum.
And me, Joe B. Hall.
For the biggest hearing event of the year.
Do you hear but don't understand? Do you struggle to hear in noise? We want 300 people to take the 10-day challenge.
Call the number below to evaluate the latest invisible hearing technology. 1 week only at all of our convenient locations.
Hearing Solutions, helping you listen to what you're missing.
Stanley Steamer is the first carpet cleaning service certified asthma and allergy friendly. It's our new standard of clean. Now get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, just $99.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer, your certified cleaner.
Hey man, who do you think Captain D was?
Captain D was actually regional semi-pro hockey captain Doug LaCour. Fueled by his voracious love of seafood, Doug would punch holes in the ice with his bare hands for a mid-practice snack.
You're full of it.
He sure is, Paul. Full of Captain D's Southern-style whitefish, topped with a special blend of Nashville hot seasonings for our Nashville hot fish. For full meals at just $4.99, it's gotta be D's.
If you are in a car accident and searching for a lawyer, you need to ask that lawyer 3 questions. 1, have you practiced law in Kentucky your entire legal career? 2, have you recently tried a case in a Kentucky courtroom? And 3, have over a dozen of the nation's largest insurance companies retain you to try their cases? At Golden Law Office, we can answer yes to all these questions. Put our inside knowledge to work for you. Call us today for a free consultation.
Hi, Shane Huffman with Neil Huffman Honda in Frankfort, where today you can lease a brand new 2016 Honda CR-V for just $259 a month. Plus, we're going to back all our deals with our 110% price protection guarantee. That's Neil Huffman Honda in Frankfort. Huffman has it.
Can you help me figure out what to plant in my front yard to help our curb appeal?
Sorry, I just started working here last week, so I'm not sure. Hey, can you help her find some plants?
Sorry, kid. I work in the plumbing department.
Can you help me figure out what to plant to help our curb appeal?
Piece of cake. First, you need a few dwarf boxwoods over there. Supplement those with a crate. Take your curb appeal to the next level. At King's Gardens, we share your passion for plants.
Both of us were on the UK campus today, and I noticed that a lot of students were outside. It'd be very tough to be in the classroom today when you can sit outside, enjoy the sun, and relax.
Yeah, I noticed an entire class outside, and that's the good days when you can just move it outside, Chris Bailey, because you just want to enjoy every moment of this.
You know, ironically, I spent a lot of class time outside.
I bet you
like
did.
This. Yeah. It didn't even have to be a nice weather day for me to get outside and maybe not go to class. We look outside across the land right now. Low 80s across all of central and eastern Kentucky. Lexington, we've jumped it to 84 degrees now. 82 Jackson, London, into Frankfort right now. We're down a degree at 83, I should say, but most areas this afternoon, 80 to 85 degrees. Once again, mix of sun and clouds. Day 4 in a row with temperatures better than 80 degrees. First time since April of 2010 we've been able to accomplish that. Nice travel conditions out there. Hopefully everyone behaving themselves on the roads. Let's check in now with Officer Don.
Oh, checking things out. We had a couple of collisions earlier. It looks like the one is about out of the way. That's one at Nicholasville and the Circle, so all lanes are back open there. Still have a fender bender. This is at Ruscio and Meyer Way over near the mall. That's just blocking one lane, it looks like. Drive times this afternoon not affected because of those collisions. Outbound to Versailles was a normal hop, 12 minutes or so from Lexington past the county line. And then looking at 64 to Winchester, no major issues. Now back to you in the studio.
Officer Don, thank you. Hanging 10 at 4 years old. And what kids have to say about being the commander-in-chief. It's the video that will have you talking. Take a look at this.
A 4-year-old surfer is riding a wave of viral success across the internet. Tiny surfer girl Aviana Zizi, who gets extra points for that rad name, has been riding waves with her dad since she was just 2. But this was her first time going solo, and look at that face. Her dad said that he and the pint-sized star practiced riding at home in their pool. He also said finally letting her go was hard, but he couldn't be more proud. She looks like a natural.
She does. Well, they may be too young to vote, but some children still have a lot to say about the race for the White House. A group of bold 5-year-olds at a New York charter school gave their 2 cents about the candidates and who they wanted to see win in November. Some of the students even had big ideas for what they would do if they became presidents.
Make a world no smoking. Be good to other people. I would tell the people to exercise.
Do you want to be president someday?
Yeah, when I may be 30 or 31, when I get my own phone.
It is very important to be president and have your own phone. Sam, what would you do if you were president of the United States?
Everybody gets a day off to spend time with their family. That would totally disrupt the economy, and business would probably be mad at me, but that's what I would say.
Maybe not. You could go and spend money doing
How about you?
Something. I'm not sure. I like what those kids said.
Yeah?
No smoking, tell people to exercise.
Yeah.
All about it.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you for joining us as we talk presidential here. We'll see you next on WKYT starting now at 5 o'clock.